Hey guys, welcome to the channel World of Wrestling. As always, your boy World of Wrestling here today to discuss about some more random wrestling talk. I think I might be coming in all messed up here. If I am, just let me know in the chat. You know the drill, guys. Anyone that's new, I'll let you know. The deal is anytime you want to leave a comment in the chat, I will definitely go ahead and state it here on the channel while this live stream is going on and answer any questions, comments, any that's kind of wrestling at all. Let me know. I'll definitely answer that as well. Not the dialogue. The audio is coming in okay. That's all I'm seeing. You can't see me. Shit. I just had a thing that said connection unstable, some kind of crap like that. Anyway, let's get into this. Hopefully this stream can well. I hope to continue to do this. If anyone, let me know because right now I am noticing my own self that I'm having problems with this. So please let me know. Connection is unstable. Please wait while we're trying to reconnect. Okay. It's kind of weird. Okay, Matt 87 Eagle says Cody Rhodes isn't showing up at the Royal Rumble, people. I heard he's might become a free agent. There's no official word on that yet. That's something I'm actually up and talk about that because I saw one of the articles come up on my notification icon on my phone over the weekend talking about how Cody is possibly going to not resign or become a free agent and then resign with the company. That might be the reason why they're going through this championship stuff. He's a free agent right now. My question to you, Matt, is if he's a free agent right now, why the hell is he still the TNT champion? Wouldn't Sammy Guevara be considered the official TNT champ? Need some questions on, need some answers on that, But let's get right into it. Go over Mustafa Ali and a request for his resigning from WWE. This is from Bleacher Report. Mustafa Ali publicly requested his release from WWE on Sunday, less than 2 weeks ahead of the Royal Rumble event. This is what he states. Mustafa Ali says, I have a message that is much bigger than my dreams in pro wrestling. Despite my best efforts, I will not be able to deliver this message while working with WWE. Therefore, I am requesting my release from WWE. That's some stunning shit right there. This guy is coming onto a public platform like Twitter and stating that he wants a release and all that, making it public. That's some crazy shit. As you all know, I mean, Mustafa Ali has done some amazing work in these matches he's had over the past, I would say, 4 to 5 years within the company. And he's never been highlighted in an important asset to the company's storylines. And let's be real, nobody is. Nobody's being utilized the proper way. That's the reason why this company sucks. That's why for the last several weeks, I haven't reviewed a Raw or a SmackDown. I just don't feel like going out of my way and watching either one of these two shows. SmackDown has become just as bad, if not worse, than Monday Night Raw. So what do I care? I don't. I checked out the most recent episode of Impact Wrestling. That was better than anything I've seen in the last couple of weeks from Raw or SmackDown. After their Hard to Kill pay-per-view, they installed the Ring of Honor roster into the mix with their show. And to be quite frank with you, I think that is a better idea of going about things than trying to do a partnership with WWE. because to me, them doing that with WWE is just showing that they're sellouts. I don't particularly like that. Now, maybe WWE just wanted Mickie James to be part of this Royal Rumble because they're short on women to implement into their Royal Rumble matchup for the women. But don't tell me. I personally think that Vince McMahon said, hey, look, I understand we had a bad rap with you. You're not happy with us. That's fine. But hey, we're willing to give you some money. They probably talked to the higher ups in Impact Wrestling as well. And all parties agreed on it. And she moved forward with the decision to go with the match. Hopefully she's not if she comes back to do this matchup and she doesn't have any. Mickie James sold out. She really did. She went back on her word. I hate people that do that stuff. I hate when people go back on their word about things that they say they're never going to do, but yet they end up doing it anyway. But I mean, everyone's guilty of that. Anyone can do that. Let's be real. But when it comes to a company that I don't particularly like that. I think that shows a lack of respect for yourself, shows a lack of dignity, and it just shows that you have no self-worth for yourself. And that's not really good. That's not a good way of going about your image to other people, about yourself, and everything else in between. So, yeah, me personally, I'm not really happy with Mickie James taking this role on to be part of the Royal Rumble after the treatment that she received and all the badmouthing she gave about WWE. You're going to badmouth a company for what they did, yet you're going to go back to do a match for them for some money. I really hope they're willing to give her a really good spot to have her do this, not just to have her on the fucking show to fill in a whole 2 weeks. And that'll show us a little bit that Mickie James wasn't willing to just show up. She is really coming back in a bad light. I think she's going to be utilized the proper way. She's going to get a couple eliminations. Maybe last till the mid portion of the actual pay-per-view, of the actual match itself, and then be eliminated by someone who's on the roster of WWE for the females. But totally lack of respect. I think she deserves at least 15 to 20 minutes in the Royal Rumble match in the early portion of the match itself. Hardcore hypocrite. Agree with you on the comment if she goes ahead and ends up getting eliminated in less than 5 minutes. I read to herself. So if WWE is willing to bend over backwards to get this woman and she ain't being placed at a higher end for this matchup and she just shows up to fill in a spot, fuck Mickie James at that point, in my opinion. Now, others may have a different opinion on that. Other people may say, all right, fuck her. Who cares? You know, it's like Matt 87 Eagle said, hardcore hypocrite. You know, that's fine. I mean, everyone has their limit of what they can deal with. And me personally, I think if she came back to do this match because WWE may have felt bad about the situation that happened between the two of them, and they wanted to say they're sorry about that with the person that sent out her stuff in a freaking plastic bag or whatnot, and they wanted to bring her back to be able to, you know, say they're sorry to her. I'm all for that. That's only if they're going to treat her with respect. If she's not being treated with respect, then by all means, guys, I totally agree with you guys at that point. So only time can tell with that match. But anyway, I don't want to keep repeating myself. I'm pretty sure I've said this quite a few times. I have a tendency to do that, but I apologize if it annoyed anyone. I only got one person watching. I'm pretty sure it's Matt 87 Eagle. That's about it. But yeah, guys, come on in, man. I want to hear from all you guys. This is not exactly the type of live stream I expected on like the last time. First episode worked out great. This is not what I expected. I mean, come on, guys. I'm getting Matt 87 Eagle, only one making comments here. Daniel, one of the people that commented on my video, asked me to do this for Mustafa Ali about requesting his release. I believe that's who asked me about that. John, as always, I can be here all night, man. I'm here to, tell you guys the news, tell you how I feel about some of the things that's going on behind the scenes, hear from what you guys have to say, and then off the air I'm going. So you guys got up to an hour. That's about only amount of time I think I can pull out here to, do a full show. So if you guys aren't here, well, I'm sorry. I'm just going to cut to the news and then call it a break, and that's it. And I'll speak to you guys tomorrow about Dynamite, but come on, please come on in. Door is open for you guys. Anyway, so Bleacher Report continues. They state Ali is 35 years old. He has been with the WWE since 2016. He was initially signed as part of an emphasis on the Cruiserweight division, which, again, I have mentioned this many times before. Why hasn't the Cruiserweight division been utilized as one of the main event spots in the WWE programs? I mean, it would make more sense for them to do that. Simply because of the fact that, hey, maybe you don't got a good enough thing going on in the heavyweight division. So whatever you're doing on your program, and maybe you're not doing so well or so hot on one aspect of your television show, like the heavyweight division, talking about building a good enough story for the world championship. But on the other end, you hear a lot of buzz for like the storyline progression going on there in that aspect. You could always make that as your main event for a pay-per-view. Now, when it comes to WrestleMania, I would have to say the Cruiserweight division should take a back seat to that. Unless you're doing two nights, then yeah, you could possibly throw in the Cruiserweight division as the main event for night one. But with all its standing, the WWE had an amazing roster of great talent from the Cruiserweight division they could have utilized and put on the main roster and make something out of it. If you don't believe me, go ask WCW. I mean, if you look at the Monday Night Wars documentary on the WWE Network / Peacock, and you actually see the episodes that was discussed, one of the major factors that WCW did to help fight against WWE's ratings is the Cruiserweight wrestling. And the weird thing is the Cruiserweight wrestling division took a hit from the NWO program that they had going on for almost 2 fucking years, a little longer than that, going into 2000. So practically 3-4 years they were doing coverage on NWO. And sometimes they would actually cut into the Cruiserweight matches just to do a backstage segment while the match is going on to promote the NWO storyline. So there was some things that they did wrong, but the one thing that helped them get a lot of people's interest is Cruiserweight wrestling. Why? Real simple. The people can relate to their size. A lot of people are 5'6", 5'8", 5'9", even 5'10". They weigh about 130 to 150 pounds, or 160 to 180 pounds, depending on your height. If you're more than that and you're real short, then you're obese. So you want to lose some weight for your own health benefit. But let's get real. We all can relate to a guy like Daniel Bryan. We can't relate to a guy like Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is a tall, buffed up dude. He's 6'3", I think. Maybe 6'5". He weighs about 250 pounds, I'd imagine. And he's buffed up to shit. Now, I mean, a gym rat would be a person that can relate to a Roman Reigns, even possibly a Hulk Hogan, John Cena, all those guys. Yeah, they're great. And they should be focused on as a main event factor on a pay-per-view match, of course. But a guy like Mustafa Ali, he has such an amazing talent. He has a lot to offer to the WWE, to contributing to WWE's television shows. He had a lot to offer to them. And unfortunately, they didn't see any use for him. My question is, what the fuck did you bring him in the first place? Outside of the fact that everyone else has stated in the last several years that the point of bringing them in is simple, because they wanted to hurter them in the company, keeping them from going anywhere else, and pretty much allowing any smaller promotions to get a benefit from any of it. Now they're getting more money out of what they're doing, which is diggly shit nothing, and they're getting money off of just doing nothing to help promote the brand of WWE. And they don't see any further use for them to even be there now. Now that they're not using them, what the hell, they need it. They're making more money hand over fist. Who gives a shit? So that's the problem with WWE. And everyone knows that. Anyone with a full functioning brain knows. So just my aspect on that. So let me continue. Eventually drawing the attention of upper management for a main roster push. Well, it seemed at several points in 2019 before Brock Lesnar was booked in that spot. Are you fucking kidding me? This is the first time I've ever heard shit like this. He was originally supposed to be booked to win the Money in the Bank briefcase, but instead, during that storyline with Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins, they decided to give the fucking briefcase to Brock? Are you kidding me? That is some bullshit. That's retarded, man. Who the hell would do that? Brock Lesnar's a made man. I figured they gave the damn briefcase to Brock Lesnar because they just didn't see any point in giving the briefcase to anyone else. But their original plans was to give it to Mustafa Ali, so they can ultimately take the fucking title off of Seth Rollins, for Brock Lesnar to have a 1-month title reign, and then give it back to Seth Rollins, who originally had it at SummerSlam. Where's the logic in that? What the briefcase doesn't benefit from it. Brock Lesnar's reign as a champion doesn't benefit from it. So what the fuck is the point in giving him a title that's going to last 1 month after he defeated him in a briefcase cash-in to ultimately lose the title at SummerSlam? That was a actual booked match into that pay-per-view. The match he had with Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank was not. It was an impromptu matchup. So where does that make any sense? Obviously, everyone in the chat, except only Matthew, seems to be answering me here. But anyone else would say the same thing I'm saying. It's illogical. It's bullshit. That is the dumbest thing I ever heard. You give something to someone who's already an established star, and you're going to go ahead and not give it to Mustafa Ali, who's actually fucking earned it? Who's never been there at the World Championship opportunity before? Again, makes no sense. Matt87 Eagle says, WWE, the home of illogical booking. No shit. No shit, Matt. Anyway, let me continue on what they had to say. So, after that, he never received a chance at consistent upper card status. Well, obviously, with the Retribution faction, that was a real joke and a half. They did nothing with that. That was purposely made to be destroyed and made a joke out of and hurt the people that were involved in this stupid faction. Thank you, Vince McMahon. You're a great, builder towards making factions. No wonder why you hate factions. You suck at doing it. Fucking dumbass. Anyway, so they continue on. The beginning of the end for Ali's tenure in WWE was likely the failed Retribution stable, which the momentum of every member was pretty much destroyed. Ali, Dominic Dijakovic, of all people, Dominic Dijakovic, coming out of NXT, looking like a fucking amazing player in that brand, with Keith Lee they produce a decent match together that kickstarts the pay-per-view for an NXT takeover. I don't know which one it was. Anyone in the chat knows, let me know. But bottom line, I mean, who the fuck? Why would you do that to Dominik Dijakovic? He's a tall dude who could actually produce, give you what you're looking for. A tall guy, muscle. Interested in Wardlow. Wardlow of all people. Wardlow. Who they didn't want to take a chance with in the first place, but now that he's getting established in AEW, oh, now they want to go after him, which I've already discussed last week. But point being, who the fuck? Like, these people don't want to build stars. They want stars to be instantly made and not have to do any legwork to help get them the character they're trying to portray. I've said it before. I'll say it again, folks. Let them have the freedom to sell us. Let them sell us on them as a character. But they don't do that. They don't care. They want to control every little thing that takes place on their show, including the characters they put on there. That is, move forward and succeed. If you're not planning on doing that, then you have no intention of. They just want to BS people and control people so that they can say, "Ooh, look, I have the power to control your life. But look, I'm giving you all this money. Take it. It's okay. Sell your soul to money. You don't need to be creative and enjoy your craft. Just take the money." Well, hell, if that was the case, I'd just take your money and sit on my fucking ass and go do something else with my life. But anyway, let me read a few comments here. Rachel Buck, she states, did you hear that they might have Charlotte face Lita for the SmackDown Women's Championship because Sasha Banks is hurt? No, I did not hear that, Rachel Buck. I'm kind of like going through the dirt sheets as I go along in the stream. So that's the case. Let me look that up in just a moment. I'm kind of just doing this at the, on the fly, So that's what I do. I don't have the time to go through every little article that's being produced for an entire week, come on here and talk about each and every one of them. I do have a life. I have a job and stuff like that. And that's my situation. So I'll get into that. I'll actually look that up in just a moment. But yeah, my thoughts on that, Rachel Buck, I think that's absolutely ridiculous. What the hell does Charlotte Flair have to go up against Lita for? What is Lita going to bring to the table? Lita's already had her moment in the limelight. She's had her matches. She's going to go ahead and lay down for Charlotte Flair. So, I mean, come on, man. Is this my thing is, Rachel Buck, if you're still in the chat, is this supposedly taking place at WrestleMania, or is this going to be at a Saudi show before WrestleMania? If you happen to know the answer to that, let me know, and I'll read that again to your with the answer that you wrote me. But personally, I think that's ridiculous. That's retarded. Matt87 Eagle says, not to mention the SmackDown hacker gimmick was dropped for shit reasons. Yeah, I forgot about that one. And that was supposedly in the whole connection to the Retribution stuff. That's really what that is. That's all they were trying to do, is a Retribution type hacking, breaking into the broadcast of the show and just trying to say, hey, we are going to expose WWE for what they are. You know what the funny thing is? If you go back and you watch those episodes, so when that took place, and you go all the way through it chronologically, you'd scratch your head and go, why did they do that if they had no intention of moving forward with that whole thing? Like, revealing who was actually doing all this. Could they have just said, hey, it's it could have been, a leader of the fucking Retribution saying, we were the ones that revealed all this to you. We're here now. We're taking over and all that shit. I know it would be ridiculous. It would still fall flat on its face, but at least we'd have some fucking consistency with the storylines they were trying to deliver to us. You know, anything. Maybe have an individual. I mean, there was people actually reporting that it was CM Punk. I mean, God help us. Who the fuck would think CM Punk would actually go back to this shit? You know, it's one thing CM Punk saying all the kind of bullshit he stated towards the wrestling fan audience, the fan base of wrestling. But for him to go back on his word and actually go ahead and work for this company after the treatment he got from him, I would have to say he is a definite fucking sellout. Thankfully, he did not do that. So, kudos to him. I thank him very much for sticking with his gut and having a backbone. But at the same time, he shitted on the fans that really supported him during his time in pro wrestling at that time. So I really still have a little, well, promotion of some kind. So kudos to him. But let me go ahead and continue. So, yeah, Mercedes Martinez, Dio Madden, and Mia Yim, who now doesn't work for the company. Every fucking one of these people, I don't know, is Dominic Dijakovic still part of the company? He is. I think Dominic Dijakovic and Dio Madden are the only two left in this company. Mustafa Ali is technically, I guess you would say, released. They're not officially saying he's not part of the company, but he's requesting a release. But Mercedes Martinez and Mia Yim, they're gone. They're done. They're finished with this company. They were released and let go. Mercedes Martinez has been doing things in the women's division and other promotions that she was doing in NXT. So kudos to her. I'm glad she's finding a little bit of success despite the fact that it's not a higher platform, but at least she's getting something out of nothing. Yeah, everything went downhill. Nothing went to plan. And since the disbandment of Retribution, Ali has been an inconsistent fixture on television. He was thrown into a team later turned feud with Mansoor, which we all know what the purpose of that was. Mansoor and Mustafa Ali could have the potential of becoming a really good tag team, eventually somewhere down the line winning the tag team titles, which I mentioned earlier this year. Or last year, late last year, I mentioned this. I think this happened in November when they did that Crown Jewel event, and they had those two compete in the match. But bottom line, I was even stating this. They should have had them in a tag team, keep them together, have them win the tag team titles, stay champions for about 6 months or so, lose the tag titles, and then become enemies after a series of losses. That's what I would have done with them. And then have them have a match with each other on a pay-per-view of some kind, make it into a major storyline. But unfortunately, that's not what they did. They just threw it right into the Crown Jewel pay-per-view to make all these Saudis happy to see their homeboy Mansoor get to compete in front of his home crowd and win the match. That's not how you should have done it. If you really want to get, intriguing with this, they streak situation for the last couple of months going into November, giving them the opportunity to win the tag team titles at Crown Jewel, but they didn't do that. So they went the complete opposite direction with the whole thing. I think they're fucking idiots for doing that. So that's just my opinion. But anyway, let me go ahead and look up this thing about what Rachel Buck had to say. Let me see. Charlotte Flair. Flair defending against Lita. Big On, I saw your comment. I will respond in just a moment. All right, this was actually 4 days ago off of Wrestle Talk. See what they have to say about this. WWE Hall of Famer Lita made her first appearance on SmackDown in nearly 20 years last night, which would have been the 14th. When she said that she feels like she has another run in her. Oh dear Lord! So they want to set her up with a match with fucking Charlotte Flair. This is a fucking riot, man. Lita came to the ring for an in-ring interview with Michael Cole when she ran down her career accomplishments, including main eventing Raw with Trish Stratus and being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Lita then said she feels like she has one more run left in her before she was interrupted by SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair. Oh, dear Lord. Really, this is the direction they're going since fucking Toni Storm has been released from the company? This is all a replacement for Toni Storm with Lita because they have nobody else to put her up against. This is a joke, man. Really, a downright pathetic joke. So Lita ends up dropping Flair with a twist of fate to end the segment. And that's pretty much that. The original Women's Championship plans for WrestleMania saw Charlotte defending her title against Sasha Banks. However, Sasha is currently out of action with a foot injury, so WWE may have changed plans. Charlotte versus Lita at WrestleMania perhaps sounds like a plan to me, which is what this writer states. I think it's retarded. No offense to anyone who does think this is a great idea. I would say it would be a great idea if Lita was going up against someone other than Charlotte Flair being the champion, like a Bianca Belair. I would be fine with that. But what does Charlotte Flair need a fucking match with Lita for? Really, go against a big name and establish themselves. This is all, they do it for Charlotte Flair. They do it for Roman Reigns. They all do it for specific people they select who they want to consider important while everyone else struggles. The wealth, man. They don't share the wealth. That's why nobody gets over. And that's why the company suffers and why it sucks. So I don't understand. Let me go ahead and go over some of the comments made in the chat. Big On says, will Chris Benoit be in the WWE 2K22 game? No. Not ever. Chris Benoit will never be in another WWE 2K22 game. Matt87 Eagles, Charlotte already beat Trish. Yes, I already know that, Matt. I stated that just now. Now Vince wants Lita to put over the damn robot. Like it. And then he states this company sucks. Obviously, that's why we complain about WWE all the time, because they do suck. And then Big On asks me, are you getting WWE 2K22? Why you have to put me on the spot, Big On? Look, personally, I'm a mark for pro wrestling. Whether they believe they're pro wrestling or not, they are. And yes, I will be buying WWE 2K22, as well as the new AEW wrestling video game whenever that comes out. So yes, I will be buying both of those games. I love the video games. What I don't like is the actual product itself, what we see on television every fucking week. That's why I haven't done any reviews for you guys. I do so much in my personal life and all my free time that I have left over. I just don't feel that it's necessary for me to cover their shows. They don't bring out any happiness in my life. They don't make me feel like my time was spent worth watching. I know I've come on here many times and say, well, it ain't as bad as watching it live, but when you go ahead and you report the same mistakes over and over and over and over again, it gets to a point where I just don't see the point of saying it anymore. Like, there's nothing to review then at that point. Give me some new mistakes that you're doing that I notice. They just do the same dumb things. I mean, I'll give you a prime example. I saw I didn't even watch a review of JD from New York 206, and I love his channel. I just been busy with work. Today I had to work my ass off, and I did not have the time to watch it. And he does his reviews late at night at like 11 o'clock to almost 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And I just don't have the time to stay up that late to watch his entire show, to hear what he has to say. So I just watch it the next day or whenever I have a free time throughout the week to actually watch a review from either Raw, SmackDown, or what have you. And I saw a thumbnail that he had on his video of Matt Riddle in a fucking graduation uniform for like high school or college. And then BC Amplified had another a thumbnail of the same thing, only showing Randy Orton and the same exact thing, wearing red on a red uniform for graduating from college or high school. I'm going, what the fuck is this? I'm like, well, there's no need to watch the review, even listen to the review. I know what to expect from this. This is garbage. What do I need to watch? Listen to a review. I know what to expect. I'm going to get, this is shit. This is garbage. This one don't know what the fuck they're doing. Bruce Pritchard don't know what the fuck he's writing about. Vince McMahon's approving all this garbage because it amuses him. And he doesn't want to reprimand Bruce Pritchard for being uncreative. And Vince McMahon's taking his company and throw it in the fucking toilet. So what do I care? Really, what do I give a fuck to sit through, watch a review, watch a live show even, or watch it recorded after I DVR'd it, and sit through and then come on here and report the same fucking thing everyone else is doing and say the same things week after week after week. Now, if I was making money, okay, a little bit of a different story. I'd have no choice. I'd have to torture myself and watch this shit and then give you guys my review on it. But lucky enough for me, I have a job of my own that I make money in my day-to-day life. I don't need YouTube to make money off of this shit and watch this fucking garbage programming. Because the only thing to me that's worth my time of reviewing is AEW. You want to know why? Because they actually give me something to talk about. They give me other things to either bitch about because of some of the mistakes they make, which I point out, but they also provide other positive things to say about their product. That's good. And that's what I don't want to sit here and bitch and moan all the time about the same fucking thing. It's one thing to make a mistake once or twice. Maybe repeat it once or twice because you think maybe it'll work the second time just because it didn't work the first time. But after the second time of doing it, or whatever, you want to continuously, repeatedly make the same mistake you're intentionally doing, which then really pisses me off and insults my intelligence. So at that point, what is the purpose of me watching your product? There is none. And that's why I've discontinued watching Raw and SmackDown shows and doing reviews on them. Will you catch me do a review at some point? Yeah, maybe. At some point I might. I might do one after the Royal Rumble. Okay? I'm not guaranteeing it, but you might see an uploaded video of me talking about the WWE Raw and SmackDown episodes after the Royal Rumble to see how things go. Maybe they actually finally get some fucking cojones and start building a show leading into WrestleMania. I mean, we're on the road to WrestleMania, but I'm not putting my hopes up at all to think that this company is going to actually go through with providing a good show to us and giving us reason to want to tune in. They don't even fucking try, so it is what it is. Big On says wrestling used to be fun, but now it's just horrible. Big On, I would have to say that's true with the WWE product. AEW, totally different story. AEW does have their flaws. There's no doubt about that, but they actually try. They literally try to give us a good product. No, they don't always give it to us the right way. They don't always entertain us. Sometimes, I'll be honest with you guys, sometimes they bore the living shit out of me. But the one thing they don't do is insult my intelligence. And that is the key thing to a fan base. Don't insult your customers. That is the dumbest fucking thing you could possibly do. If it's one thing where you're not, you got to work out and fix. But when you're insulting your fans' intelligence, then that is a sign that you're insulting your fans. Definite sign. So that's like me going into a store. Stupid? Do you not know where we keep toilet paper? It's by where the paper goods are. Why would you treat your customer that way? I'm just giving you guys an example. But yeah, I mean, like, why would you say something like that to a customer? They're asking you what aisle you have your, I'm sorry, I just say, of course. But that's the kind of mentality WWE gives their audience. They're like, okay, well, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and we're just going to throw any kind of shit up against the wall, hope it sticks, and if they don't like it, well, tough shit for them. No, tough shit for you, because your fan base is slowly but surely going away. AEW, they're suffering on account of it. I really do believe that. I believe AEW is suffering on account of WWE's mistakes. Because WWE, like this, it is not exactly as fun as it used to be. AEW alleviates some of the pain of being a wrestling fan, but at the end of the day, they're not yet at the same level of WWE. Are we going to see AEW ever performing in front of 60 to 100,000 people? That kind of capacity at this point in time? No. They got to go a little bit further. Yeah, Tony Khan may have a lot of money from his dad and from whatever he's done in his own personal life as a businessman, but let's be real. This guy ain't got all the funds to do shit like what Vince McMahon's doing. He may be loaded, but he also has to be conservative with his money. He can't just throw money out there like a fucking retard. He'll go broke and then the company will fail. He can't do that. He has to be conservative of the money that he's making and continue to build on that as he moves on and progresses with this company. We're not going to be able to see them do shit like this until probably the next 10 to 15 years, which is okay. It's not a deal. But what I'm saying is they're not at the same level like that. Why WWE is able to get that many people to show up at a fucking wrestling events like WrestleMania of all places 2 nights in a row, beyond me. I have no fucking idea how they can do that shit. But they do. Somehow they do. And I guess it's because there's a lot of people out there that are just dumb enough to buy into their garbage still at this point. Anyway, so Big On goes on to say, I was watching a video and it says that WWE makes so much money it doesn't need to put on a good show anymore. Well, then get out of business, please. You got all this money coming your way. Sell the fucking product already. I mean, if you're going to have that mentality, why? It's like, for example, let's say a football player. He goes ahead and he does really good. He makes 1,000+ yards a game. Let's say he's a running back, wide receiver, or he's making 4,000 yards a fucking season for like 16, 17 games as a QB for a fucking team. Then he gets this big contract signing, $30+ million a year. And for like long-term contract, let's say like 5-6 years. And then all of a sudden he decides, what the hell? I got the money. I'm going to play like shit. You think they're going to continue to keep the fucking player in the starter back? Maybe even trade his ass to somebody else. He continues to play that way. The team that he gets traded to, they're not going to want to do shit with him. And eventually, once that contract's up for that time, that back when he originally got that new contract for like $30-something million, it's the same mentality like WWE. You're making all this fucking money, yet you have the mentality you don't care about doing a good show. Why wouldn't you care? Come on, man. This is retarded. It's just the mentality of this man is out off the rockers, man. So he's making a lot more money, so fuck the fans. So why not just have the fans on a fucking screen like you did before during the pandemic when it was serious, it was too serious to have anyone there, and just do it that way. It's artificial, it's not real. You don't have to have the fans. You can so like who gives a shit? If you don't care, why the fuck should we? I guess they don't care because they just keep doing the same shit. So I guess I'm just bashing my head up against a wall that's never gonna move or break or what have you. I don't know, man. This company is just so fucking pathetic. SmackDown versus Raw. Big On says SmackDown versus Raw 2000 versus Raw 2007 was a good game. SmackDown versus Raw 2005, I believe it was. It had I think 2005 SmackDown versus Raw 2006 was good. I'd say about those 3 games were pretty dang good. They were really awesome games. SmackDown Here Comes the Pain was actually a good game as well. Just had a very short-term use out of it. You couldn't really use it after you got done with the storylines for that. The WWE Raw games for Xbox, I played those. Those were fucking terrible. Graphics were terrible. The in-ring work, the controls, everything was fucking horrible. It was worse than WWE 2K20, which is one of the worst games out of the 2K series I've ever played before. I mean, I own the fucking game. Literally, I own it. If you don't believe me, I'll grab the game right now off my shelf and show you guys how much of a fucking dumbass I am for getting the damn game in the first place. Because I like the roster. They had Tommaso Ciampa. They had Johnny Gargano, which he was in 2K19, which is a good game. 2K19 was a decent made game. Wasn't terrible. It was decent. Wasn't, fantastic, but it was decent nonetheless. But I mean, like even the WWE games. Haven't you guys noticed something about the WWE games? The WWE games seem to be a lot more like the same way the shows are. Very repetitive over and over again. Storylines, the same fucking shit. You start one storyline, you do another storyline, they do the exact same repetitive crap over and over again. You have the same fucking cutscenes, same exact attacks, same exact everything. They don't even put vignette promo videos for the pay-per-view matches. For all the buildup that went into it. Why would they? It's the same repetitive crap that you see over and over again. Who the hell's going to give a shit about that garbage? Jesus Christ. Oh, man. Dude, I've cut two things on news. Most of the rest of it's just been me talking with you guys and you guys talking to me about how this company is. I feel like as if we're having a therapy session about how sick we're all tired of WWE's garbage. This is what it is. We're all here for a therapy session. But the best part about it is it's free. It's absolutely free. You don't have to pay anything for this therapy session. Anyway. All right, let me get into Cody Rhodes, and then I'm going to cut this off at this point because I didn't really do the best job like I did last week with trying to find articles because I was like really busy with stuff. But yeah, Matt87 Eagle talked about this, and I want to bring this to everyone's attention. So SB Nation reports this. Cody Rhodes is reportedly a free agent. At first glance, the report from Fightful Select this morning, January 17th, that Cody Rhodes' AEW contract expired at the end of 2021. That explains why we didn't get to see him on the actual pay-per-view, the actual match they were supposed to have with Sammy Guevara, which we probably won't see very much of. He's probably going to surrender the championship and just be done being TNT champion, and Sammy Guevara is the official champ. Until they can re-sign him, which there's belief that they're going to resign him regardless, because there's just some kind of contract dispute that they just got to work out between the two parties, and that's basically it. But yeah, his contract expired at the end of 2021. It doesn't seem like it's a huge deal, they say. Sure, if he's been working without a contract for the last several weeks, that technically makes him a free agent. But Rhodes is a founding member of AEW, along with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. He's one of the 4 wrestlers who started the Tony Khan's company with the title of Executive Vice President. He's won his 3rd championship with the company on Christmas night edition of Rampage. That would be right around when his deal was apparently expiring. Wait a second. Why the hell would they give him a TNT championship belt without him being able to have the intentions to defend it when they had no official agreement on a contract? That sounds like a really fucked up, illogical move on their part. Then they got to create another TNT championship belt, calling it the interim title. Now, the interim idea makes sense, but why give the title in the first place to someone who can't defend it because he doesn't have an official contract set for him to continue on working for the company? Makes no sense to me. But hey, it is what it is. They actually made sense of it, though, with the whole situation with him being out. And, I'm okay with it. I mean, it makes sense, and they can always just say, hey, look, Cody could come on television and say, look, me and the executives, we're having a hard time trying to come to an agreement. I've decided to take a step away for a little while. I'll be back. I'm surrendering the championship. Sammy Guevara is now your official TNT champion. Now, Matt 87 Eagle claims that that's all part of a heel turn. If that is part of a heel turn, this is all storyline based. Damn, did they do a fucking awesome job. They did a real good job. Now, they could address this on Dynamite this Wednesday, tomorrow, and address this to everybody and let the audience know what the real situation is and show signs of Cody turning heel, which they're already doing that now anyway with the previous promos he's done and everything else. So technically this could be a very good thing. I mean, with them playing out this idea that there's a problem with his contract when might not be, or maybe there is, but they understand that this could be a benefit to all parties between Cody and the AEW as a whole. So if that's what they're trying to go for, kudos to them, because I think that's fucking awesome. When you pertain real life situations and put that into your program, you are doing great service to yourself and your fans, because fans are getting a real life situation. We're not feeling like the show is a fixed program, even though we know it's fixed. But to relay it to like MMA or boxing or something like that, that is something really cool to implement into your show. And TNA did that with Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe was having a problem with his contract. I think it was they were kind of addressing this, I think, in around 2009. I think it was right after he lost his TNA championship belt to Sting in 2008 at Bound for Glory. And at that point, I think they were addressing that he was having contract disputes with upper level management and was getting pissed off upper level management. If that's the route AEW wants to go with Cody at this point to finally turn him heel, I'm all for it. Really, I am. I think that's a great idea. So the person that wrote this from SB Nation, he states, and why would he be worried in an executive for the company? He's one of the faces of AEW's community outreach program, and the star of their partners at Warner Media have latched onto. Both of both for his and Brandy's Roads to the Top reality show as a celebrity judge on a Go Big show. So all this makes sense. It seems like it really is just a storyline. They're playing with the audience, trying to get them convinced this is a real situation when it really isn't. They're just trying to work out the kinks with the contract. Cody has no intentions going anywhere else. They just want to finish up with trying to come to an agreement with his contract, and that's that. And Cody won't be found anywhere else but AEW. So that's really where I think they're going to go with this. And this is actually taking place, but they're going to use it to their advantage storyline-wise. So it makes sense. You got to also make Cody turn heel by the frustrations he's getting from the contract dispute with upper-level management, with Tony Khan and the rest of AEW. So, I mean, he could possibly have him turn heel that way. So that's a thought. All right, so WWE is the only place he could go in the industry that would offer him a similar high-profile spot. And Cody was famously frustrated there before negotiating his release in 2016, which I highly doubt we'll ever see Cody Rhodes back in a WWE ring. Why wouldn't he stay with the company that puts him at a high level like he is right now? And he's only in the mid-card and is still just important as anybody else in the main event spot. So he'd be kind of ridiculous to just go ahead and go back to the company that treat him like shit. It's just another Mickey James, CM Punk type of situation. So they go on to say that hasn't stopped fans online from letting their imaginations run wild. We've heard lots of whispers about issues between the EVPs over the past year, which, to be fair, Rhodes, Matt, and Nick Jackson, and also Omega have all shot down. And then there was recently a rumor about WWE bringing in a Forbidden Door talent for the 2022's Men's Royal Rumble. Highly doubt that we'll see Cody Rhodes in the Royal Rumble match. Very much so. Impact Knockouts champion Mickey James, as we all know, is in the women's match for the Women's Royal Rumble. This writer states, my personal favorite is the work shoot. Aficionados thinking this news leak could be a step in Cody's into his heel turn and or give him a way to revenge on his promise. Actually go back on his word to never chase the AEW World title, which I've actually stated this. I've stated this many a times. I think if he turns heel, you give him the ability to turn that whole stipulation. He should be able to erase that, break his word from it. I mean, with him being a heel, he can do a lot of things he wasn't able to do as a face, and chasing after the world title would be one of them. So I think he deserves to be the world champion. And I think he needs to play out the Triple H role. Not as bad as Triple H, but have that one moment in the sun as a world champion and play the evil villain as world champion. I think that would be great. I think whoever they decide to go with, I think like a Young Buck or a Darby Allin, or not Young Buck. I'm thinking of Young Bucks. A guy like Darby Allin or Jungle Boy would be the perfect person to take the title off of him. Darby Allin more than Jungle Boy, because Jungle Boy is more as a tag team specialist. Darby Allin's more of a singles competition guy. And they have a history with each other in competition over TNT Championship. So that would be a great deal. And it would benefit for Darby Allin to get that run with the world title and be able to go after the world championship with Cody as the champ and heel. So I like that idea if they were to go with it. All right, so since Fightful's story came out, AEW has reminded their audience Rhodes returns to Dynamite on this Wednesday's episode. Lots of folks have also pointed back to the quote of Cody's from an interview he did earlier December with Sports Illustrated. As of now, my future is with AEW. AEW would be very strange without the core members of the Revolution. we all still talk, and we all have this admiration for each other. I can't see myself anywhere else, and I'm very optimistic about what the future holds. And that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, that is the overall standpoint. My idea is this is a storyline mentality that they could go with and take advantage of, even though, yes, it is real, but also they could turn it into a positive. So that is my aspect on that. And I hope and pray they go about that, because I think that's a great idea. But before I go, I got one more comment that was made by Matt87 Eagle. He states he could do some independent shows if he wants, but no way would he go back to WWE. To what? Be another victim of Reigns? Hell no. Well, I don't ever imagine Cody Rhodes being in the same ring with Roman Reigns. Ever. Never in a million years. I don't think Vince McMahon would ever put him even that close to the opportunity of competing for a world title in WWE. He didn't do that while he was there. Why would he do that now? He came from the competition. Oh, wait. AEW is not competition. Bullshit. Anyway, man, that is it, guys. That's all I have to say at this time. We have gone over the hour limit that I normally do this. So I thank you guys for coming in, chatting a little bit with me time around. Hopefully next week's episode turns out a little bit better than this one. But nonetheless, I was able to come up with some creative and cool ideas. I hope whoever did not catch this live and catch this on the fly whenever they get a chance to watch it, leave your comments down below. I'll be happy to interact with you, answer any questions, answer back to any comments and I'll respond right back to you on that. Hit the like button if you like this video, of course, and hit the subscribe button, and I will see you.